the petroleum minister, said that Nigeria will continue to import petroleum products for the next 20 years. 20! This is a federal scam. She said because we don't have enough refineries and the ones that we have are not operating at full capacities, she said we will continue to import petrol and all petroleum products, kerosene, diesel, everything for the next 20 years. 2 decades. 2 decades to come. The devil is a liar. Of all the OPEC countries, you know that Nigeria is the only country that imports its refined oil? Yeah, we are the only one. We only have 3 refineries, and all 3 refineries used to work, by the way, at full capacity. In the 80s, we were exporting refined oil at that time. What happened now? That all of a sudden, our refinery stopped working. Just imagine, one of the largest oil exporters, so we now sell to people who have refineries in their countries, and we buy back 90% of our refined oil at very, very high price. We don't even ask about, other petroleum products like Vaseline, candles, everything else that they make from our crude oil. We don't even ask them about that. On top of that, we face fuel scarcity every so often, queuing in line for hours and hours to buy fuel. Many countries that buy crude oil from us have more refineries than we do, and some of them don't even produce crude oil. Algeria has 5, Libya has 5, South Africa is not an oil producing country yet, they have 6 refineries. Malaysia has 7 refineries, Egypt has 9, Iran has 9, Iraq has 11, Saudi Arabia has 11 refineries. The US that buys crude oil from us, they have 142 refineries, and 139 of them are in full operation. You know that Nigeria's population is half of that of the US, yet we have 3 refineries and they are not working at full capacity. Texas alone has about 30 refineries. That is just one state, my people, one state with 26 million people. We are 170 million and we have 3 refineries. And when you check the size of the capacities of some of those refineries in Texas, my people, your jaw will drop compared to the size and the capacities of the ones that we have in Nigeria. The right thing for the Nigerian government to do is to renovate our existing 3 refineries so that they can operate at full capacity and build us new ones. That way they would create jobs for thousands of people and our oil will become very, very affordable in Nigeria. We'll actually enjoy the benefits of being an oil producing country, because right now we are not enjoying it. Instead, they want us to be importing for another 20 years. I know that some people have tried to build refineries in Nigeria. I know that Aliko Dangote is trying to build one, but I also know of some people who tried to build refinery and the government refused. Obasanjo during his time tried to rebuild the refineries at one time, and one of the people awarded the contract was Sir Emeka Ofo. Remember, I've talked about him before. That man spent the billions of naira he was paid without ever completing the project. Yes, about 3 billion naira. And then Obasanjo sold the refineries to Dangote, Otedola, Adenuga at very, very cheap price. Can you imagine that? And Yar'Adua took it back and said, no, this belongs to the country. But since then, every year, they will say that they are spending billions of naira renovating our refineries. Still, till today, they are not operating at full capacity. Where is the money going now? Niger, where you see the 419, see the scam right there. You see why I say that the Nigerian government is doing yahoo yahoo? But have you guys ever wondered why the Nigerian government is not eager to fix our refineries or make it a priority? Well, first of all, there will be conflict of interest. Yes, so because those that are importing fuel to sell to NNPC and to filling stations, those ones would no longer make their money. We call them oil marketers, and many of them are, friends with the ogas at the top. Yes. For example, Mr. Femi Otedola is one of the largest importers of oil in Nigeria. He is very good friends with the presidency. Even last year, Otedola came with Mr. President to New York. I saw him with my Koro eyes. So why would the government want to fix the refineries when it would mean bad business for, someone like Otedola? You get what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if the rest of you have to pay so much money for fuel. In fact, the more you pay, the richer the man gets. And it's not just him now. There's a long list of all these oil marketers. Mr. Wale Tinubu, Alhaji Idris Dantata, Peter Mba, Mike Adenuga, Patrick Uba. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's a booming business. In 2006, there were only 5 importers. By 2007, they had multiplied to 10. By 2008, we had 19 importers. And by 2011, the number had escalated to 140 oil marketers in Nigeria. They are making big money, big money. Oh, by the way, just so you know, many of these rich people are also sponsoring Mr. President's re-election. Yes, he needs their money. I'm not implying anything, God forbid. Another thing is, what happened to that subsidy scam, by the way? I mean, for years, the Nigerian government claimed to be subsidizing the price of fuel. That means that the government was paying the rich marketers a lot of money so that we would be able to buy fuel at lower price. Now, the scam was finding out that the government was paying for about 59 million liters per day. 59 million. Meanwhile, Nigerians only consume 35 million liters per day. That means that we couldn't account for 24 million liters of oil per day. So $6.8 billion disappeared between the oil marketers and NNPC in 3 years of subsidy. So many people believe that the marketers were selling the excess oil to other countries. Me, I don't know. Which was why they took the implicated marketers to court. Remember, that was when Mr. Otedola was able to bribe his way out with $600,000, you know, given to Mr. Farouk Lawan. Yes, but till today, nobody knows the outcome of the subsidy scam. No one was successfully prosecuted, and we, the common people, continue to buy fuel at a high price. And because NNPC is not accountable to anyone, despite owing the government about 704 billion naira for various violations of the subsidy scheme, well, Nigeria essentially has no savings, which is why last week, Madam Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the finance minister, said that the money in the treasury could only last us for the next 3 months. After 3 months, there is nothing else unless we borrow another $5 billion. But you know, we won't talk about that today. Yes, borrow. So we won't fix the refineries because the subsidy scam would have to be readdressed. Oh, by the way, you know, they said they removed subsidy in order to develop infrastructure. I mean, they didn't develop infrastructure. Well, they painted the airports, yeah. And by the way, they actually did not remove that oil subsidy. In reality, they actually increased the subsidy. The government has continued to budget subsidy in their annual budget. This year, 2014, they budgeted 900 and something billion naira for subsidy. But of course, they always exceed their budget for subsidy. Like this year, they've already spent about 2 trillion naira. Already, they've released their subsidy budget for next year. Another reason that the government has refused to fix our refineries is that apart from using fuel to keep our cars running, Nigerians spend about 796 billion naira every year on fuel to power generators. Yeah, so that is more than $4 billion just to fuel our generators. Can you imagine? As you know, about 60 million Nigerians now have power generators. 60 million. And I know that many people have 2 or 3 generators so that they can rotate them round the clock. I'm saying that the number of generators we have in Nigeria today is more than the population of Canada and Ghana put together. Yeah, so now if the refineries are fixed, the marketers won't be making that much money that they are making from fueling our generators, because petrol would be much cheaper. You get what I'm saying? By the way, all these things are connected with why they've refused to fix our electricity. Generator marketers are also friends with the ogas at the top. If they fix our electricity, those people that are marketing generators would go out of business. So it's not that they can't fix our electricity. It's all about protecting the interest of your friends. You get what I'm saying? Thank you. So instead of telling us to keep importing oil for the next 20 years, why not invest in alternatives to fuel? We live right on the equator with plenty of sun. We shouldn't focus only on oil. The rest of the world is diving into solar power, hydrogen, natural gas, just to name a few. Just so you guys know, Nigeria possesses the largest natural gas reserve in all of Africa. And we have the 8th largest natural gas reserve in the whole world. Yeah, but we flare our gas, you know, but that is a topic for another day. They would rather protect the interest of their friends. This is why I say that the Nigerian government is doing yahoo. They are scamming us. But that is if we let them. It's time that we, the people, invest in solar power. If the government has refused to, already some young people are creating cars that don't use fuel. Most people just laugh at them. I don't think we should laugh at them. I think we need to start taking them seriously. If only some wealthy people would invest in these young people and create alternatives, we won't have to suck up to the gas at the top for the next 20 years. 20 years! But you know, if we don't do anything well, we will all endure the high price and fuel scarcity for another 2 decades. We could know how to adjust in Nigeria. This is not the first time, But you guys know that I don't know anything. Wait to be my own. I'm just keeping it real.